Do you ever feel like your skiing suddenly stops progressing, but you just don't know what's holding you back? Well, you're not alone. Most skiers hit this wall at some point. And when we dug into the CARV data, 5 recurring mistakes stood out. In this video, we'll walk you through those mistakes, why they happen, and what you can do to fix them.
Hi guys, I'm Janelle Zaclay. I'm a level 4 ski instructor and Australian ex-national team. I've been skiing for over 40 years and coaching for over 25.
My goal is to help you understand skiing on a deeper level so you can take charge of your own progress and unlock some of the best turns you've ever experienced.
Because progress is what keeps skiing exciting. Every breakthrough, every tiny improvement, every moment when something finally clicks, that's where the real fun begins. CARV has now logged over 1 billion turns from skiers around the world. So when I connected with their data science team to break down the trends, it didn't take long to pinpoint the 5 metrics where most skiers fall behind.
And guess what? According to the CARV data, 76% of skiers are making this mistake. Okay, so we love carving skis, right? They make skiing easier, but they also make it easier for skiers to make mistakes. SideCut has made it really easy to turn skis, even if you're in a bad position, which leads us to common problem number 1, when skiers have their weight over their heels throughout the whole turn. If you're standing over your heels for the whole turn, you might notice your skis are chattering as they turn and your quads start to feel sore. If you realize that you always have heel pressure when you're making your turns, you can try the boots undone drill. In this drill, we're going to undo the top 2 buckles of your ski boot, take away the stability of the upper cuff, and make some turns relying on the strength you have in your own ankle joint. Almost immediately, I can feel how the bones in my foot and all the muscles and ligaments need to tighten up to give me the structure to support a nice centered stance and balance. So this is one of those exercises where I don't need to tell you what to do. Your body is the genius. So trust yourself and trust that it's going to figure out how to achieve the task, which is having more pressure along the whole of the sole of your foot.
And if you're a CARV user and you'd like to see if this drill has helped, check your balance scores in the app to see if those scores have increased.
This next problem is really common, from skiers who are learning to ski all the way up to those who are learning to carve. When we asked the guys at CARV, they said that 76% of skiers are leaning their whole body into their turns. So what's happening here is that skiers are attempting to edge and turn their skis by leaning their whole body into their turns. And the reason why this is bad is because we lose our balance on our outside ski, so we don't have a nice stable platform, and our edging potential from this position is really limited.
And if you're checking your CARV metrics, you'll probably notice that both your edge angle and edge build score are quite low. This is an indicator that you're edging your skis with your whole body, which is preventing you from building your edge angles through the turn.
So if you realize you're using your whole body to turn your skis, you can use the swords drill to fix it. So what you're going to do is try and drag the tips of your poles in the snow as far away from your skis as possible with straight, long arms. All right, here we go. So all of a sudden, immediately, I feel how much I need to bend and flex my body so I can drag this outside pole all the way down the hill. Okay, so if you've just crushed that and it's feeling really easy, here's the next step to make it more difficult. You've got to do the swords drill, exactly the same thing, but at the same time, see if you can lift up and get all the weight off that inside ski. Stay nice and flexed in the joints. I'm standing up. Now I'm going to start lifting the weight off the back of my inside ski. This next common problem is all about the way you shape your turns. And if you don't nail this one, you'll never become an advanced skier. When people aren't shaping their turns properly, they're either making a Z-shaped zigzag or a long, loopy S shape. And when we asked the guys at Carve, they revealed that 78% of people aren't shaping their turns properly. You'll know that your turn shape is poor if you notice that your edging comes on mostly at the end of the turn. You'll also feel like you're always struggling with speed control. And if you're a Carve user and you have a look at your turn shape graph, you'll notice that your turns aren't nice and round and C-shaped. So if you realize that you're making those Z-shaped zigzag turns or those long noodly turns straight to the bottom of the hill, try this three-sided box exercise. In this exercise, you'll imagine you're skiing around the edges of a three-sided box. So you'll ski out across the first edge, down the hill, down the fall line, and then back across the third edge. Across the hill, now I'm going down the hill, now across the hill again. Now down the hill, and then across the hill. Down the hill, and then across the hill. Okay, so you probably felt a lot of forces starting to build up as we skied a little bit faster because we're staying in the fall line for longer, which is the whole idea of this exercise. So what we're going to do now is imagine that the corners are rounded off the edge of this box and we're going to ski around the edge of an ice hockey rink. Okay, let's go do it. All right, so now I'm going to round off my corners a bit, still go down the hill and across the hill. Down the hill and across the hill. And now I can really feel some forces starting to build up through my turns. And I can really feel the turn pushing against me. I'm getting higher edge angles.
Turn shape is a key skill to improve and help you build control, which is why it's one of the skills highlighted in the parallel progression in Carve. Check to see if you leveled up in this skill after working on the three-sided box drill.
Once you dial in your turn shape, you'll start to feel a lot more energy and deflection through your turns. In fact, skiing this way starts to feel a lot like you're riding a roller coaster. It's really fun.
Now, this next common problem is a little contentious, and it's all about the way we use ankle-knee movements in our Carve turns. When shape skis were invented, it was a really exciting time because all of a sudden we could make these really fun, tight, pure Carve turns by rolling our ankles and knees. However, now the common problem is that a lot of skiers are rolling the ankle knee too much to initiate their turns. Now, the problem with this is that when we overdo the ankle knee rolling at the beginning of our turns, you can see it destabilizes my hip, which will eventually make me feel really blocked as I can't keep on increasing my edge angles through my turns. Now, you'll know you're doing this if you're one of those skiers that's really trying to get inside their turns, but they're just feeling blocked. You can't get down any lower. And if you're a Carve user, you'll notice that your edge build scores are probably pretty low. All right, so if you realize that you're driving too aggressively with your ankle knee at the start of the turn and that is destabilizing your hips, try this hip nudging drill to quieten down the ankle knee through turn initiation. Okay, so when I make turns where I'm leading and driving too aggressively into the turn with my ankle knee, it feels like my inside knee is leading the turn. So what we're gonna do down here is I'd like you to do some edge rolls with the hip instead. And you'll feel like rather than, the hip dump, we're not talking about that. I'd like you to nudge your hip into the turn so it feels like the hip is a little bit further inside the turn than the inside knee. And it looks like this. So this is just like an edge rolling exercise, except instead of using my ankle knee, I'm deliberately just trying to use my hips to move them across my feet and into the turn. I'm literally keeping my ankle knee really, really still. And you can see that I still get quite a lot of deflection and a lot of edge when I'm moving with the hip. And it's a really nice kind of feeling. My hips feel nice and stable. I'm standing on the edges of my feet. And this is what we call the hip nudge. Here I am nudging that hip just inside of the turn to set up a nice, stable hip position. So now we're going to reintroduce that ankle knee movement through turn completion. So you're going to nudge the hip into the beginning of the turn, and then I almost feel like I'm chasing my hip with my ankle knee to tighten up the turn radius at the end. All right, so I'm just hip nudging, keeping the ankles really still, not a lot of performance. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the ankle. Hip nudge, ankle, hip nudge, ankle. Hip. And now I'm feeling really dynamic. I've got a lot of really fun turn forces, woo, happening through the turn, and I'm moving. Now this final common problem is experienced by 71% of skiers, and it relates to the way that we can be sometimes still and static through our turns. Great skiing is always about movement. When you watch a great skier, you might notice that they look very still and stable, but that really is just an optical illusion created by the fact that we're always moving in concert with the forces of the turn.
Carve users who are skiing statically will see lower scores in both their edge build and weight release metrics in the Carve app. These metrics measure how much you're able to build your edge through dynamic skiing and how you're able to use the energy or rebound stored in a ski to help you transition dynamically in your turns.
I'm going to take you guys through a couple of drills right now to help you learn more about inclining into your turns. Okay, hold your poles in one hand, get a little bit of an angle heading down the slope, tip in and allow the slope to come to you. Now this sequence is really fun, and you're probably getting the feeling of a nice long leg and short leg as you tip this inclinated position into the hill and the feeling of the hill coming towards your hand. So now we're going to up it one more step, and this time we're going to use a bit more speed and we're going to touch down with our hip and do some hip drags. This is what it looks like. We go now, long leg, short leg, hip into the snow. Okay, long leg, short leg, and then hip. Okay, so this drill is all about getting used to being a lot closer to the snow. A lot of people feel like they're getting really close and they're using a lot of inclination when really they're a couple of feet away. So in a nice controlled environment, actually hitting the snow and going all the way down helps you get a lot more comfortable at those lower positions. Okay skiers, there you have it. These are some of the most common problems experienced by skiers, from having their weight over their heels too much, leaning into our turns too much, having bad turn shape, over-aggressive ankle knee movements, and being really static and still in our turns. If you think we've missed any problems, leave a note for us in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. But until then, remember to keep practicing, stay curious, and always enjoy the ride.